Welcome to Rate the Audits, where we put misconduct on display, explore police and legal content, protect rights and demand accountability. This episode is brought to us by Northern Audits. Be sure to check the link below and subscribe to his channel and give him the credit he deserves. In this episode, Auditor Northern Audits visits Sun Chemical in Rochdale to document the site with his camera and drone. The encounter turns confrontational when one security guard demands he delete his footage, while the other tries to stop him from flying his drone. Tensions rise as they threaten police involvement, and when the auditor returns later for his night shots, officers arrive and start policing feelings.
You have to go over there near the gates, it's private property.
Past there, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that for all of these sites?
No, yes,
yeah.
it
So
is.
who are you? Sorry, you haven't even got a badge on.
Security.
You're security, okay.
Yeah,
then.
so, and you haven't got any pass to go on the sites either, love, so it's private property. If you want to go over near the gate, please.
Just over by the gate, alright.
Yes, thank you.
Just before I go over, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around.
No, you're not.
Get some videos.
No, you're not. It's private property. Which part you don't understand?
No, I mean past that way. Past.
You're not allowed to. You've got to ask permission for it. It's still private property.
I'll be on public land though, filming private property. Is that okay? Yeah.
Why are you recording?
That's because I've just said I've come down here to do a bit of a.
You want to go to the gate first before we carry on?
Yeah, okay then. Yeah. What we up to you getting the boundary, your gate and stuff, and then I'll explain to you what I'm doing. Yeah.
As the auditor moves past the barrier, he is immediately confronted by a security guard who orders him to leave, claiming the area is private property. However, there's an immediate issue. She is not displaying her SIA badge while attempting to enforce these instructions. Under UK law, licensed security personnel are required to display their badge while on duty, ensuring transparency and accountability. Despite this clear violation of regulations, the auditor does not escalate the situation and complies with the request, stepping off the property to continue the conversation. This highlights a common double standard. Security personnel expect the public to follow their instructions, yet fail to meet their own legal obligations.
So you want me to delete this?
Yes, because
Why?
it's private property,
Yeah.
you didn't ask permission for us to do it. So can you please delete it?
I'd rather not. I'm not going to delete it.
It's your choice. You either do it or we'll phone the police. Your choice.
Well, listen, I'll just tell you what I'm doing, and then you can decide whether or not you want to
You've
call.
come on a site which is private property. Now I've asked, because you've not asked permission of the property people to record. You've come onto the site and recorded without any permission. Now you've got a choice to either record and delete that or contact the police.
Can I just explain to you then, before you contact the police, what's going on, yeah? What I'm doing is I'm just going to have a little walk around the perimeter and film the private land from public.
Well, you haven't done, have you? You just come on here onto private property and recorded it.
Yeah,
so I'd like you to delete it, please.
Yeah, but that's because you've asked me to leave, so I'm leaving now, yeah?
No. Would you walk onto anybody's site? Did you think it was private property? It's not. There's a reason why these gates are here and the barrier's here. So please, can you delete that footage? The beginning of you walking onto the site, can you please delete it? If you don't, I will contact the police.
Her demands hold no legal weight, and her attempt to enforce a rule that doesn't exist completely exposes her lack of understanding of photography laws. In the UK, there is no law requiring permission to film private property from a public space, or even from within an openly accessible area, unless specific bylaws or legal restrictions are in place. Furthermore, only a court order can lawfully force someone to delete footage, not security, not business owners, and not even the police themselves. GDPR applies to businesses and organizations, not private individuals recording for personal or journalistic purposes. Her threat to involve the police is nothing more than an intimidation tactic. Security guards do not have the power to dictate what someone does with their legally obtained footage, and her insistence on deleting it reveals just how untrained and uninformed she is.
Why is the barrier there then? Why is the barrier there? Is it there just to be just for show? No.
It's for vehicles.
Right, no it's not. It's
Can
for
we calm
people
down a
like
little
you,
bit?
and that's why the gates are here. If you were coming onto this site, you'd walk through these gates. You haven't. For one, you've not asked permission to record anybody on this site, including me. So, I advise you to delete it off before I get the police involved. You've not written to this company to ask them to do recording.
Do I have to write? Why would I have to write?
You just walked onto this site thinking you've got rights to do. You have not.
can I just say, don't get the police involved because there's no crime being committed.
There is. It's trespassing.
No.
You've come onto this property as trespassing, which is a civil suit at the end of the day. But you are recording against the company's policy.
Yeah, it's civil, that's what I mean. So you won't ring the police, would you?
You are recording against a company's policy.
Yeah.
For one, you have to ask if you can come on this side and if you can go onto that side, which is private property.
The auditor recorded on private property, which she insists is against company policy. But here's the issue. Company policies are not laws. A private business can have internal rules about filming, but those rules do not extend beyond their own staff and visitors who willingly agree to them. A member of the public is not bound by company policy unless they have entered into a contractual agreement, which the auditor clearly hasn't. Her own words expose her lack of authority. She acknowledges that trespassing is a civil issue, meaning the police have no role to play unless a criminal offence, such as aggravated trespass, has taken place, which it hasn't. At this point, she is simply grasping at straws, hoping that repeating company policy enough times will somehow make it legally enforceable, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Right?
But
you need to go and find out what your legal rights is. At the end of the day,
I know.
You don't.
I do know.
You don't. A lot of people think they do. They don't. Right? I've been doing this for years. I know the legal sides. Okay? So one, it's private property.
Yeah.
This is council property. That's council property. Come over to this gate. You come over that gate. It is private property. That's the reason why I am here.
Okay.
Now, I've advised you, and I've said it 3 times now. You either delete that footage that you recorded while you're coming on this site, or we will have to inform the police. What have you done?
Please don't ring the police because there's been no crime committed. Trespass is civil, isn't it? The police don't get involved.
Matter. It's still private property. Whether it's civil or whether it's public or whatever way, it is still trespassing.
Yeah.
You have not got negative permission on the company to come on this site.
The auditor had already complied with leaving the premises when told to, so the police would have nothing to act on. If officers were to attend, they would either have to inform the security guard that no crime has been committed, which she should already know, or attempt to pressure the auditor into compliance despite having no legal authority to do so. Either way, this is a classic example of businesses wasting police resources over personal grievances rather than actual law breaking. While real crimes are happening elsewhere, officers could be tied up dealing with a completely unnecessary call-out, one that could have been avoided if the security guard simply understood the limits of her authority.
You've asked me to leave and I've left, haven't I? So there's no.
I'd like you to delete that, please. Because we've not given you permission to record me, record this site, and record this wagon coming on site.
Okay, but what you're saying, just let me speak then. So what you're saying is I have to delete this. So you are saying you know the...
delete to the area if you're coming up here. From there onwards, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, you know the law.
You are on a public footpath, like you've said to me. You are on a public footpath and you're taking photos, but still has to ask permission to come on site. You walked on site, which is trespassing. You can ask any police officer you like. I used to work with the police, so your choice.
What did you used to do part of the police?
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you.
That's really interesting.
It's your choice to delete you walking into the site.
Have you got a license for your drone?
What kind of license do you need for a drone?
You need a license to come over a private company. You've
Where?
got to have our permission to fly a drone over our company.
You're saying I'm not going to fly the drone?
Yeah.
You're wrong then. You're wrong. Because I'm definitely going to fly that drone.
No, you're not. If I have to get the police, I will bring the police.
Another misinformed security guard steps in, this time challenging the auditor's right to fly his drone. He incorrectly claims that the auditor must have a license to fly over private property and even threatens to call the police over it. This statement holds no legal weight. Under UK drone laws regulated by the CAA, drone pilots do not need permission from a landowner to fly over private property as long as they are not taking off or landing on it without consent. If the drone is being flown in unrestricted airspace and following CAA guidelines, the security guard's claims are completely baseless. The threat to call the police is nothing more than an intimidation tactic. Just like with the previous security guard, the police have no power to enforce imaginary rules. Now in the video, the police arrive as the auditor returns for his night shots, but instead of upholding the law, an officer mainly focuses on the security guard's feelings.
What's your name, darling?
I'd rather not give my name.
I mean, it's just politeness because I'm PC Hayes and this is my colleague, PC Greenhouse. So
PC Hayes, PC Greenhouse, yeah.
So what's your name?
I'd rather not give any names, if you know what I mean. I'm just out flying my drone, that's all.
We're asking you your name because we need to ascertain details, because then I can say I've spoken to you, you've told me exactly what's happening, and then I can close the log. But at the minute, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. You don't need to know who I am. Are you recording, by the way?
It's always
Ah, right, you're supposed to tell me before.
No, we don't have to say it's always on for
Look it up in your policy, love. Look it up in your policy. I'm recording. I don't need to tell you I ain't got a policy. You've got a policy because you're a data handler. You handle GDPR. I can request a copy of that. Yeah. So, but I would request a copy if I didn't know you were recording. It's because anyway.
So many officers always say, "We don't have to tell you," when questioned about their body-worn cameras, but this is completely false. The College of Policing's BWV guidance clearly states that officers must inform individuals at the earliest opportunity that they are being recorded, unless doing so would jeopardize safety or an investigation. This repeated disregard for BWV policies makes it clear that training is severely lacking. If officers were properly educated on their obligations, there would be no excuse for these continuous breaches. Instead, many continue to dismiss their own rules, reinforcing the idea that police accountability is optional rather than mandatory.
So yeah, I'm just flying my drone. I'm out flying my drone. You don't need to know who I am. You don't need to know what I'm doing. You just need to know I'm flying a drone. That's all.
I know, but obviously there's a business there. So you flying a drone is obviously making that business feel uncomfortable, isn't it? Because he doesn't know who you are or why you're doing that. You could be a security risk to that business. He doesn't know you, does he?
Well, yeah, you've come and spoke to me now anyway. So yeah, I'm just. If you just let him know, I'm here flying a drone, and that's it really.
Right. Well, can you move on somewhere else away from the business?
I won't be moving on anywhere else. This is public land. Don't ask me to move on. That's ridiculous.
At the end of the day, you're making him feel.
I don't know who you think you are, though, turning up like this and just telling me to move on. Don't tell me to move on.
This is a prime example of bad policing. Instead of enforcing the law objectively, the officer is trying to remove the auditor simply because his presence makes others uncomfortable. This isn't about public order or crime prevention. It's about pacifying complaints rather than upholding rights. By telling the auditor to move on, the officer is effectively treating a law-abiding citizen as if they are a problem, when in reality, he has every right to be there. Policing should be based on facts and legal grounds, not feelings or convenience. If officers start telling people to leave public spaces simply because someone else doesn't like what they're doing, it sets a dangerous precedent where lawful activities can be shut down on a whim.
I mean, I'm not doing it aggressively.
I'm not having a go. I'm just saying, don't tell me to move on.
I'm not doing it aggressively. I'm asking you politely that you're making him feel insecure because he's not aware of who you are. You're not even telling me who you are.
I'm not going to tell you who I am because I don't need to. There's no law.
So we don't know who you are. That is a business. He's there for security purposes, and you're outside flying drone.
Can I just remind you both that you're here to uphold the law? You've got to go by laws, yeah? You can't.
Absolutely. And I'm not breaking any law.
Yeah.
The auditor rightfully reminds her, "You're here to uphold the laws, you've got to go by the laws." Instead of acknowledging this, the officer deflects, responding with, "I'm not breaking any laws." This response is deeply flawed because she misses the point entirely. The issue isn't whether the officer herself is breaking the law, it's that she's failing to enforce it properly. Her role is to uphold legal rights, yet she's more focused on the security guard and his concerns rather than ensuring the auditor is treated fairly and lawfully. This interaction perfectly reveals a major issue in policing today. Officers often prioritize keeping complainants happy over actually applying the law as it is written.
I'll tell you what then, I'll reset relations a little bit. Just don't ask me to move on. It winds me up, does that, because I'm studying public land now, just doing a legal activity.
That, but if you just go a little bit further down there, away from the business entrance, you're not going to make him feel uncomfortable, are you? You can appreciate though that without their permission it can make them feel a little bit uncomfortable because they don't know why you're here, do they?
Well, the thing is,
if you get permission to do that, then I'm sure they'll be more than happy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, the thing is, one, I don't need to, but two, sometimes I do. But the thing is, what happens is that guy first came out there. He came out, and instead of just coming up to me and talking to me and saying, "Hiya, what are you doing? How are you flying a drone?" and all that kind of stuff, he ran up to me with a strobe light flashing at me saying, "I've called the police on you," and that's that. And then he run back in his hut, turned all lights out. So at that point I'm thinking, well, what do I do? Do I go down and say to him, don't worry mate, it's just a drone? You know what I mean?
Because potentially he's quite scared because he doesn't know who you are or what you're doing, do you know what I mean? So he's in fear, and you can understand that, can't you?
This raises serious questions about communication within the security team. If the day shift guards were already aware of the auditor and his presence, why wasn't this information passed on to the night shift security? Proper internal communication could have prevented this unnecessary escalation. Instead, the night guard was left in the dark, reacted out of fear and confusion, and wasted police time over something that could have been easily resolved with better coordination. Rather than taking a professional approach, the guard's impulsive actions made the situation worse, proving that many security personnel lack proper training on handling public filming situations. Instead of stalling the police over nothing, a simple briefing from the day shift staff could have reassured him, preventing another completely avoidable police intervention.
Nah, you can't cause fear. You can't cause fear by turning up on a public land and flying a drone.
Anybody can cause anybody fear, can't they?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you just
I know, but from a legal standpoint, I'm
we
saying.
all have our own emotions and our own feelings,
Yeah,
and everybody can make anybody feel in fear, and that's clearly what you did. Yeah,
Well,
you made him
from a
feel in
legal
fear.
standpoint, I haven't created fear or anything like that. From a legal
For
standpoint,
him, for him, yeah.
A lot of people phone the police when you fly a drone over the premises, but it's because they don't know the law.
They don't know you. They don't know that you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And they don't know what your interests are. You've just told us
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
interested in buildings, you're doing nighttime shots, and now you've just told my colleague you've got
Yeah.
a YouTube channel. But they don't know that.
Yeah.
And this is, I'm not saying it's the same person.
Yeah, he
but
never asked. Yeah, but
within the last 4 days, we've had 2 calls about people flying drones here. So just because it's so close together, it's
Yeah.
gonna spike a little bit of concern.
If somebody's going to break into that and potentially cause damage, it's going to make a massive effect on the whole area, isn't it? So they have to be very aware. So if they don't know you're coming, they don't know what you're here for, do they? So it's going to make them feel a bit sort of worried, especially when it's a chemical place.
I don't want to do something wrong by you and
Yeah.
act on something or say something or do something when I don't know it's right.
well, the thing is, what I try to do is I try to avoid detaining arrests. So I can let you know if you needed to know anything. But I will let you know today's flight has been 100% lawful.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We just asked for your
I said
name
to you-
just so we
Yeah.
knew who
At the
you
end of the
were.
day, I appreciate that, but just as a person,
Yeah.
it made him feel a bit sort of
Yeah.
frightened for him to phone us. So just be aware of other people, do you know what I mean? And get, you're not doing anything illegal. You can't control somebody's feelings. And at the end of the day, if he's there for a security purpose, it's going to make him feel frightened because you don't know who you are. Yeah? Maybe before you do it, go and speak to him and explain to him like you did us.
If anyone should have explained things beforehand, it was the business and security staff, not the auditor. It was their responsibility to inform the night security guard that an activity had taken place earlier, so the guard wouldn't react out of fear if it happened again. Instead, they failed to pass on crucial information, leaving the night guard panicked and uninformed, causing him to call the police over nothing. The officer's logic is completely backward. The burden shouldn't be on the auditor to reassure security guards when he's doing nothing wrong. Instead of holding security accountable for their poor communication, she places the blame on the auditor, proving once again that she's more interested in policing feelings than enforcing the law.
Yeah? And then he will say, yeah, that's fine, I'm aware of it, it's okay. I'm not threatened by it, that's alright. But at the end of the day, he doesn't know what's going on, does he? Yeah?
But yeah, just have a quick word with him, put his mind at rest, and then hopefully he'll be a bit happier, won't he?
Yeah, potentially.
We'll go and speak to him though, because obviously,
Go on then, let's go speak to
it
him.
may well be that we'll go on our own. It's fine. Just to not cause any issues, but we'll go and speak to him and we can put his mind at ease that we've had a conversation with you.
Okay then.
Okay?
Go on
Leave
then.
you to enjoy the rest of your night, sir.
Excellent, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
As the officers step away to reassure the security guard, this episode perfectly illustrates how both the business and police failed miserably. Instead of focusing on enforcing the law, the officers spent their time comforting security, prioritizing his feelings over facts. This entire situation could have been avoided with proper communication, yet both the business and law enforcement failed to handle it professionally. The root of the issue lies with the poor coordination within the security team. The auditor had been on site earlier in the day, yet no one informed the night guard, leading him to react out of fear rather than understanding. Had the business taken a basic step to brief its own staff, the security guard wouldn't have felt the need to stall the police for something that was never a police matter to begin with. Instead, his lack of awareness caused unnecessary escalation, leading to a wasted police response over illegal activity. But the bigger failure came from the police themselves. Rather than upholding the law, the officers pandered to the security guard's emotions, treating the auditor as if he had done something wrong, despite breaking no laws whatsoever. Instead of educating the business and setting the record straight, they validated the guard's unfounded fears, reinforcing the idea that someone simply feeling uncomfortable is enough to justify police intervention. At the end of the day, this was a complete failure on both ends. A business that didn't communicate, a security guard who panicked, and officers who prioritized emotions over legal rights. Until police start enforcing the law rather than protecting feelings, these unnecessary confrontations will keep happening. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Northern Audits. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audits, and I'll see you in the next one.